pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So, started. All right. So, I think if everyone received the email I sent out, we'll start with the reviews, the letters of intent for appointments. I figured I would read the two letters and then we could discuss. Is everyone good with that, or any objections? No, that's what I was thinking. Right. I'm going to start with the first letter. This is from Ms. Trish Tidd to the members of the Kingston Municipal Budget Committee. This letter is to identify my interest in serving by appointment to the Budget Committee to fill one of the empty seats. Although I do foresee a couple of scheduling conflicts, I do believe that I can contribute to the budget process through the fall and at the town's deliberative session, and bring 3 years of experience to the table and build upon with helping our town find the best balance between services and expenses provided to the taxpayers. Thank you for your consideration, Trish Tidd. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Appointment of Trish Tidd with a vote of 6-0. All right. The second letter is from Martha Jaquith. And it says, hello, as a Kingston resident, I am interested in the Kingston Municipal Budget Committee to help out our town as there seems to be some vacancies. I have an engineering degree and have been an engineering manager at Oracle for about 13 years and have lived in Kingston for about 15 years. I've never been part of any town positions and would really like to help. Our town deserves to have all the help it needs. I have enjoyed reading the minutes and learning about our expenses and obligations and look forward to learning more in this position. I currently volunteer at New England Lab Rescue and help with all of their applications and fees in transporting and fostering. I have taken accounting and business and management courses as well as my engineering courses and feel that my background with numbers and management would be a help to this role. Thank you for your consideration. I hear there is a meeting next week on Wednesday evening. Would I be allowed to attend? Mrs. Martha Jaquith. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you suggest to her that she could come?
I did. I told her she could come.
Yeah, they both can come.
They both can come. They just can't vote on anything official until they've gotten.
So you'll let
Just,
them know that when it gets going
yep.
and-
So both of them are appointed to the Budget Committee with a vote of 6-0. Okay. All right. So with that, we need to assign liaisons. So do you want to go through the list I have of current positions and see if people are interested in liaisons? How would you like to handle it?
How did the total with the 2 new members, how did the total number of members, are they the same number of members, more or less than last time?
They would, with the 2 new members, it would be the same amount as last time, which would mean we have 18 different departments, so everyone would get 2.
I don't even know what my second one was, but I'm perfectly happy to keep the highway department and anything else that you want.
Okay.
What do you have last time's the last.
I probably do. Hold on. Yep.
Yes. No, it's green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I turned it on when she called, yeah.
It's okay. No problem. Nope, it's good. Remind us that we need to do that, because we might not. Let me see. We should have a schedule, right? It was on the schedule.
The only other thing I'm thinking is that you have two members who aren't here.
Yeah. And our next meeting isn't until July.
Well, when you're not here, you always get the assignment you don't want, right?
Well,
we don't
no,
wanna do that.
because Chuck, you were very kind to me and gave me a less,
An easier one.
yeah, I don't know if say they were easy, but, so I feel it's probably
Well,
time
think
that
as we did in the past, the experienced people got the bigger departments, like John's got highway and whatever else, but, you know, somebody had the police that had been around.
Yeah.
yeah, Nick.
And then Nick had the police, I had the fire.
Yeah,
So, and then Anne Marie had the library. So those are some of the more complicated budgets, I would think.
But even if we waited till July, that would still be sooner.
Yeah, I know. It's up to, you know, if we want to try to, we can hold off again and have a full, the four other people.
If you don't hold off, then basically those two people are gonna get leftovers.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Well, we'll end up, 4 people will get leftovers, but,
well,
Yeah.
the trustees is not a tough one. The town clerk and election committee is not
Not
a
tough.
tough one. What are you laughing at?
But the trustees were kind of difficult.
Well, there's a new chair in town, right?
I wouldn't go that far, and I was referring to that.
I'll give a shot with the police department. It's a
Okay.
learning curve. Joel's, I think,
Right.
It won't tell me what he did
They'll be
last year.
teaching you.
yeah, exactly. He'll teach me when I need to.
okay. The only reason I think we may want to assign liaisons would be if we have questions as we're going through the review of last year's budget or where we are to date.
Right.
We may want the liaison to reach out to the department head to get some background on that.
Oh, DPW. That's valid.
He said he took the highway.
Oh, highway.
Yeah.
DPW highway.
So,
Do you have a sense of what Trish would be interested in?
I would think that,
I wouldn't want to speak for the new person, but usually someone that's new is somewhat flexible.
Trish has been
Yeah.
around and know the department, I mean, whatever she gets.
so she could probably, actually, Trish and I could do is just swap. So she could get the departments that I had and I'll take what she had, which probably makes sense.
Mix it up, yeah.
Just, so she would get fire. And then we have the other ones. Are you okay with the library again?
Sure.
What else did you have last year?
Recreation.
You don't care about the money, you can do that again, unless you want to change it.
Pam, do you have any?
You'll be superintending the construction of a pickleball court.
Yes.
Oh, boy. This is how we're going.
Right down the street from me.
Hey, the rec department's gonna put a trip together to Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, November 25.
I'm going to Ireland in 2 weeks.
Are you?
Yeah, my son's over there.
Oh, Amy, you said you,
3 weeks, I guess.
all right. Pam, do you have any departments?
So I'm new, I'm not picky, I'll take whatever's left.
Okay,
But I could try town clerk, if you'd want me to take that one. That would be okay.
Town clerk and elections.
Yeah.
Tammy's fabulous.
I'm interested in what she does anyway, so it'd be fun.
Yep. No, that works. Okay. So we have, Conservation Commission, Heritage Commission, the museum, Planning Board, Parks and Rec.
Emery's gonna do it.
You want to do that again? Yep, okay.
And I think I would just assign Gary, for the sake of putting people in the name, assuming he'll be.
Yep.
helping out, but he did like conservation and heritage or something.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, assign Gary that and the Historical, District Commission.
What was my second project last year? I don't think, I'm just surprised I had two things.
Oh, you didn't have to. Did you not have to? You only had the highway.
Highway department was a major project.
Well, but it's,
I can't say it.
the highway department includes government buildings.
Right.
So
Yeah.
within the Department of Public Works,
Yeah.
it includes government buildings and that.
So, now I'm not kidding, you know, it sounds funny, so maybe I can do the museum as well, because there are building issues there that he's involved with.
Okay.
That overlap, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, and
Okay. I'm just gonna go with that, because it's highway and municipal buildings, so it kind of does all of that, that stuff. Okay, so I have Gary as Conservation and Historical District Commission. All right, so, let's see. Oh, Planning Board, is there any, let's see who we could give Planning Board and Zoning Board. They kind of go together, right?
Yes, they do.
They do.
planning board or what?
They sit on
Zoning
the-
Board of
they're-
Appeals.
They're on the same side of the hallways. Oh
Yeah,
my
they
goodness.
go together.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to
Yeah, I
group
think you're
things
right.
that kind of
Yeah.
go together.
And for accounting purposes, they run that way in the budget, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I was kind of,
yeah, how big's their budget?
I have Barbara,
Their budget is,
but she's new, but she has some experience in another town. So I think she might be a good person to put there.
Was she an engineer?
No, Martha's the engineer. Barbara, I think, was on she had experience in Plastow, working, okay, so, and I have, all right. So, trustees of the trust fund, and actually,
cemeteries goes with that.
yep, and cemeteries, trustees of the trust fund and cemeteries.
Yeah, Gary had that,
He did have that?
yeah, but I did it. I think it was,
Also did the budget.
yeah,
That doesn't,
yeah. It was kind of kludgy, but like I said, there's a
Did
new
it-
director.
we only gave you one yet, right?
What?
We only gave you one department so far?
I only have one department so far, yeah.
So do you want to do trustees of the trust fund again, since you're familiar with that area?
But then I'd have to work with Jack. Yeah, I'll do it. Unless, because it's not tough. Do you think it's a nice novice one for like Martha?
It would not be hard in the budget committee, the internal accounting is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it wouldn't be difficult for this committee to review what the taxpayers have to put.
Yeah, that might be a good one for Martha, because it's a small budget.
Okay,
It's complex, but it's
Okay, hold on. All right, so,
Not that I wouldn't love to work with you, I'm not saying that.
Right, I understand.
all right.
She left the committee when they elected me chairman.
No, I left the committee. No, I left the committee 'cause
So the only other one we have is welfare, human services, social services
oh, I'll do that with Marissa.
with
yeah.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do that, and
Who's
then
got executive?
I have executive with the budget committee one. So you want to review them?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make sure. Budget committee, I have that one. Conservation Commission, Gary. Fire Department, Trish. Heritage Commission, Martha. Highway and Municipal Buildings, John. Historical Museum Committee, John. Library, Anne Marie. Planning Board, Barbara. Police and Animal Control, Claudine. Recreation and Parks, Anne Marie. Select Board or the Executive Budget is myself. Town clerk and tax collector, Pam. Oh, I have you too many times. Trustees of the trust fund. Did I already say Martha twice?
No, just once.
Martha. Welfare and Human Services, Claudine. Zoning Board of Appeals, Barbara. And Historic District Commission, Gary. Pam, I think I only said you once.
I think I need one more, so whatever is left.
That's it.
Oh,
No, cemeteries is part of trustees of the trust fund.
do you want to give her one of Gary's?
That's what I was
Just
thinking.
in case?
So Historical District Commission or Conservation Commission?
I think Gary has that one.
Yeah, but we're gonna,
I'll take conservation.
okay. Yeah, we assign them to Gary, but we may wanna
Yeah.
just give him one. Yeah,
He had a hard time last
yep. And he has, what does he have? Historical District Commission, which is, yeah, which is fine.
I'm sorry, does Trish just have fire?
No, Trish has, wait, hold on. Maybe she only has fire. She has fire and emergency management, so it's actually like 2 in 1. Like kind of how highway and municipal buildings are. Fire has fire and emergency management, forestry under all of that. So, all right. Any questions? Concerns? Obviously, we got a little time to go before we are doing this, but they're signed. All right. All right. Next item is the review of the 2023 budget versus expenditures. So I sent this out again, and it's kind of titled Money Turned Back into 2023 Year End. I didn't know if we wanted to discuss anything, review some of the items that people have concerns with. I know that the select board is going to talk about this plus where they are to year to date.
Well, we're not gonna talk about last year, but we're
Oh, talk about year to date at the select board meeting on Monday. So if we have questions, we can bring them. I was gonna.
which budget do they have?
Which budget? They have the money turned back in plus the one that Paula sent me on Monday.
That's for 2023.
Yeah.
The year end.
They don't have, I have the actual ones, I don't have the other one.
Oh, okay.
So that's why-
Oh, okay, sorry.
Not that it makes any difference, it's that, you know, they've got
Yeah.
last year, they've got this year.
Okay. Do we want to discuss last year's?
Yeah, I've got the question about, because I don't fully understand how the library works. So I don't understand how they could have been over,
Yeah.
because, can you speak to that, John? Because I don't know how it works. I know they're different.
I can't speak with great confidence, but I know it is a timing issue involving transfer account. The underlying reality
Okay,
of the money spent is that they were not over budget like that.
oh, okay.
Actually, I was hoping to have it tonight, but I asked Paula to, you know, if they've sent back the money that they owe the town, they send money back, they usually do it by now. And there's always some, so.
Right,
Line items, they may be over, but in reality, they have money left and they turn it back in, but I will get that amount.
so this might not be a final accounting, is what you're saying?
No, well, no.
No, it's not
And-
final
and-
accounting, or no, that's not what you're saying?
No.
The numbers may be final, but they're misleading.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I have I'm looking for it here. And nobody knows, the library budget is just, it's
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 different.
also the way they do it.
It's once again, it's actually pretty simple, but the problem is the accounting between the library and the town's books. That's what causes the numbers to be confusing.
I mean, even looking at the first quarter, and again, a lot of stuff in the first quarter's gotta be adjusted. I mean, she just ran it and there's like $7 credit over here and this, I mean, that's minutia that's gotta be corrected, but I looked at the library and, you know, it's got $326,000 in its transfer account. So obviously there's an accounting issue there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but they budgeted, what, 97,680 for the transfer account last year. So,
But the reason I know, for instance, I mean, sometimes you better be careful what you ask and wish for, because the town cuts a check quarterly for the real estate tax payers' obligations to fund the library. And there's no money that's paid until well into the year. In other words, in January, they don't get, if it's a quarterly check, they don't get a check for $125,000 or so, whatever if the budget is $400,000.
Yeah.
They don't get a check for $100,000 immediately. They're paid late. The cash flow is late. And so they maintain a balance in the checking account, which they run the operations out of, and that relieves the town treasury of having
annex or transfer money. Yeah.
right to, for instance,
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if it's a state statute or a determination from the Department of Revenue, but they're supposed to get a check in January, April, July, and October. And I think there's a desire to move in that direction or more towards that direction, but it hasn't quite been done yet. And I think that contributes. So I actually think that the transfer account variances are between years. That's why I think these yearly figures
Are
Right.
off, yeah.
We have asked them for the last 2 years to take the transfer account and make it a part of the budget, rather than saying, we're looking at, the only thing we can cut when you look at the library's budget is the transfer account. I mean, unless you want to cut payroll and that other stuff, and I've said to them, like every other town department, or on the budget, you list, you know, your phone bill and your light bill and all that stuff, rather than just saying, well, it's a transfer account, and they give us a sheet of what that transfer account is. And then that's the only thing we can really work
Look
with,
at.
because that's, you know, the utilities and maintenance or whatever, but they don't do that, they just
So
keep
the
doing it.
problem is the state statute.
Maybe that's what,
There's a state statute that goes back to the 19th century that makes local libraries in New Hampshire
And how they get,
freestanding, independent, you know, they have their own checkbook over there for everything for payroll. And then they reimburse the town out of, you know, for payroll.
right.
So how about if we just ask the library to give us an accounting prior to our next meeting? Yeah, we just need a written, you know, a written accounting of,
Basically what the transfer accounts are.
well, it's not so much the transfer account, just an accounting of where all the money is.
Right.
And that way,
We can see.
we can view it that way.
And as
And
of
I'll do
what
the same
dates,
thing with
too.
the
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, because they appeared to have been over also.
Yeah,
Maybe we should do that with all the accounts that
are over from last year.
appeared that way.
Yep. I mean, we could do that. We could say that all of the accounts that, what are they? So it would be,
That way, we're not guessing.
yeah, so it would be executive, not all executive.
Yeah, what is that financial administration assessing?
That is the overage from the assessors. Do you remember we had
It's not
the,
an overage, is it?
from last year?
But is it an overage or a shortage?
Shortage, sorry, shortage. Shortage from last year because of the balloon payment at 5 years. So we had the shortage in that, we have, and so then we have all of the ones in, we have the other highway, streets and bridges, that is a shortage of $182,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they spent twice their budget.
Yeah, but there was a reason for that. It was underfunded.
and, right, but I think we're just trying to understand why it was underfunded and if it is currently underfunded.
As a single mother of two, I always felt I was underfunded, but I didn't end up my year twice over what I should have ended up as, so. Not to be snotty, but, you know, you're underfunded.
I think I think it has something to do with grants.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So I think,
Which is why it was funded in the budget that was just passed.
Yeah,
That's why, that, if you notice that amount
it's
was
like,
way up,
right,
and that was why.
right, but we were under the impression that money would be returned to us, right?
It is gonna be
Right.
returned, just within a different year.
So it's like a timing issue
Right.
there as well.
because it's appropriations, right? So in order for us to spend it, we have to appropriate it so we can spend it so that we can get reimbursed from whatever grant we're applying. So it ends up being a wash, but it should be in the budget. So do we want to do that? Do we want to ask for anybody who went over on their line, on their full budget, on their bottom line, to kind of get a short explanation of them?
I just identified the 3 or 4 most significant ones.
So we got,
Do you really care why financial administration auditing was $2,700?
Yeah, and Health and Human Services, I mean, they were up against
Yeah,
it this year.
there's nothing to,
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know assessing. Do we want a further explanation of assessing?
I don't need one.
You don't?
No,
I think-
only because I know what it is.
Assessing
It
was,
was under budget.
Yeah,
we screwed up.
Exactly.
No, just,
He said that, not me.
no, they did, that we didn't, which is now we have, that's why we now have a list of all the contracts that we have out there by year when they're up and all that. Because nobody bothered to read it, that who was paying $87,000 instead of, $8,000 or something, whatever it was, so.
I would just think it would be easier for the town, the public, if we had an accounting for it all, for an explanation, that way it could be presented. It's just my opinion.
No, that's fine.
okay. Do
Okay,
we all agree to that?
I mean, whether it's $300 for the museum or $182,000, I think it all needs to be accounted for.
yeah, and I think the more transparency we
Yeah.
give to it, the,
Yeah,
And I think that's what we want to do by doing this exercise. We're trying to be as transparent as we can and talk about where we see some of the things, and just make sure we have a clear understanding going into the next budget cycle where we need to pay special attention.
exactly. That way going forward, hopefully we won't run into
So,
red.
So for instance, your insurance was $865 over budget, that's 1%. You want an explanation of that?
I believe it should. I believe we should have an accounting for it. I mean, I'm looking at Parks and Recreation, they were over budget by $552. I would like to know why. I would like to know why the museum was over 331. I mean, yes, they're small figures, but
percentage-wise?
even percentage, it's a figure that needs to be taken care of. I mean, if I was over budget at my home, I would want to know why.
Right.
Well, I think,
And I think the town should know why.
well, we know why, I don't know why the budget for the museum is over $300, and we'll find that out, but we all know, is, except for Pam, why the assessment was over last year. That's
Yeah.
simple, we've discussed that at many meetings,
Yeah.
as to why at the end is that it was over. It's the same with the trash company that.
Yeah,
Right.
waste management, sanitation,
Ran over by, what was it?
27,270. So,
But Pam is the exact citizen that we want to inform. You know, it's one thing for us to know it. The citizens want to know, why were you over budget? I don't know if they have privy to this information, if they see the bottom, I mean, the bottom line, we were under budget.
And then we significantly talked, we as the committee significantly talked about it.
Yeah,
And obviously, there's nobody here that cares. So, again, whatever, I'm just thinking, some of the stuff that we know collectively.
yeah.
And certainly, when the assessment department comes up, and I guess it's the selectmen, you know, you'll see that it's budgeted correctly this year with the new company. It's just, seems like a lot of work to do for.
We're talking about what, 1, 2, 3, 4,
The other
5,
thing,
6, 7, 8,
my
9,
experience in other
10,
planning,
11.
age, I always found out, and when I had time on my hands and was single and did this stuff, you know what I mean, got my hands dirty, whether it was a full-time job, I learned more and found out more interesting stuff by looking at the stuff that was over budgeted and was underspent, to be truthful with you. Because, just because. So if you really, want to really get down to master it, I will bet that you'll find out more interesting tidbits by looking at why. And I actually know the answer to this, but here's 2 accounts that are under budget.
Yeah, I do. That's what we're talking about.
Other general government is 40% under budget, $65,000.
Right.
That's the
Town
sheet they're looking
inspectors.
at right now.
35% under budget, $52,000. I know what that is actually, but actually that story is more interesting than some of the other stuff that go in the other direction and that we know. Actually, we were told what happened in the highway department, and I've just forgotten what it was. But you're right, it has to do with grants and trash
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
or recycling.
recycling. It's recycling. The trash was covered, the recycling. And it has to do with the grants for the highway grants and the bridge grants.
Right.
So the other thing, like the executive branch, is executive general budget is $13,000 over, but it's out of $460,000. So my guess is that when you look at that, it's made up of 40 different items that go in different directions. But I'll grant you this, you'll find some interesting things among those 40.
Right.
So the question is, we're asking people to go back basically and go through all those ledgers and write a memo.
Correct. Correct. But if we do it for one department, we should do it for all of them.
That's why I focus on percentages and amounts that are significant, rather than just use that as the standard.
Where do we all feel? I mean,
I think it wouldn't hurt to dig into the wheres and the why-fors. I mean, health and human services are over budget, but if you group that with general assistance, which was under budget, you're within $1,000 variance.
Yeah.
So it could just be needing a line item adjustments,
It could be.
you know?
And I
so-
think it's important to know this information, but do
Yeah.
we need, like, I think we should have an understanding of, are we gonna run into some of these issues again this year? Like, is the highway and bridge grants
Yeah.
funded appropriately, like, with, you know?
If you don't recognize your mistakes, you just do
Yeah.
to repeat them, right?
Yeah,
So I think I think you're right, I think this is a good exercise to get us through these next few months, so that we're better prepared. you
for
know.
budget.
Yeah, I think we should know, and when we talk to our departments, we should find out, like, why the fire department was under budget by $147,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have that much extra in their budget, we
So-
need to know where
So again,
that needs to be
At
cut.
what point in time did the selectmen, when they realized that the benefits of the retirement, whatever the account was,
Yeah.
and the assessing budget was under budget, did you meet with the department heads and ask them
Early
to,
on.
to basically conduct themselves to run up surpluses, to bail those accounts out? When
Yeah.
was that, about halfway through the year?
I think so, yeah.
So naturally, the fire department, and I think the police department,
Yeah,
they came up with surpluses because they stopped spending, you know.
And that could also be a timing thing, when did they get the monies
Yeah.
to Paula to put into the trust funds? You know, that's a
Yeah.
year-end
Yeah.
exercise, and
Yeah.
weren't they both about 150,000 or 100,000? How much were those, warrant articles?
75.
75 each, last year?
No, last year was 100,
Yeah.
this year was 75, yeah.
And that doesn't get transferred until year-end, so this could be a timing issue.
Okay,
So, yeah, I think it bears investigation.
all right. Is that a motion to get the 11 that are over a written explanation to the budget committee?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Sure.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? All right. All right. Okay, the next sheet we have to review is the current money of the budget versus the expenditures for 2024. So this is where they have spent as of the 19th of April. This is being reviewed on Monday, and there are some, as they've been looking at this, there has been a couple of areas that they have seen that they need to move a couple things around. Do we want to just go through the upper level, like the 4130, and just see if anyone has any questions, and then go through every single department?
They're prorating, so just the very first line, salary selectmen, 6715. That's for January through April and then.
19.
Yeah,
So those are actuals? So those are the actuals that has been paid to that budget?
right, so is the budget 22.1 for the year, or is that the budget for?
That's for the year.
Okay,
That's for the year.
Anything you see with a 30 to a 31 or 32% at the end of it is obviously in line with where they should be for the
Yeah.
first quarter.
Yeah, so 3 months is a quarter, that'd be 25%. 4 months, which we're almost through, would be a third.
Yeah,
So I would only be looking at anything that's
40%.
like 40, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what I have circled.
yeah, 40 or higher.
And also that is significant, like supplies, 4130-26, they spent like 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
Not even a third.
Supplies, dues, and meals and miles on there, which my thing, looking at it
Yeah.
today and yesterday, are issues of, you know, they're like, some of them have already spent it for the year, so
Yeah.
it's either money's been put in the wrong place, which we think is what, and I had a brief conversation with Paula, I mean, this is the first time she ran it and has seen it,
Yeah.
you know, without looking at it day to day, which she doesn't do, but, so this gives her an idea of say, okay, you know, books, it's 104% because we're $9 over.
Don't the selectmen get this once a month?
No, we do it quarterly. They never did it before, so we
Yeah.
do it quarterly now.
So another one that's probably more important, and Claudia, you might have an insight into this. Computer maintenance, 4150-12, at the top of page 2. Spent over 85% on computer maintenance. And now I wonder if that's related to this election challenge that she has.
No, I think, again, we'd have to ask the question, but I think
Yeah.
whatever, she was budgeted 4,700.
It was probably a laptop that she
They
bought
bought the
beginning
two
of the year.
computers that they need for that already.
And
They wouldn't
it
spend any
could be
more.
just a contract for maintenance, so it could be the maintenance was done or paid for in January when it was due.
Right.
So the full amount, yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be, you know, there's, you know, I mean, the mileage, so I look at like mileage and meals,
Yeah, that's all, that's,
which is interesting, because I think that's mileage and meals. If you look at the election one, mileage and meals is already $119 over budget for the year, and we have 2 elections left. So it's actually, if you actually look at it, you go back to last year, it was at $50. It was never increased to support the 4 elections of this year.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but,
Because everything was increased to
Right.
reflect the.
but this one number, I went back and looked, and it wasn't increased at all from last year to this year.
Really? I thought it was.
This election mileage and meals. So election food, the line item above was, but the one that's called mileage and meals was not.
Oh, so that's for people traveling and getting,
Training, probably.
yeah.
And
Do we submit for that?
I haven't submitted, but
I don't submit for that.
yeah. So I don't know if there's, and we know with the new
I guess
software.
I won't either.
And with the new software, everyone has to go to training, so
Yeah.
it's been,
and I think as this develops, the next time we look at this,
July.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, or either August or the September meeting, you know, these will be more accurate than, you know, because she's got a lot of corrections to do, and it's got to be like, what do you say, like I said, $50, if that's the case, and if that's,
So-
because she's got to move some money.
So I think when we met at the first budget committee meeting, we wanted to make sure that we get that this is a first draft, and it's the raw data, and it's not 100%, and it's not, you know, we understand that, and we just want to be able to review expenditures as we go through the process, so that we can just see if there's any issues or concerns.
I think we need to check with the budget committee chairman, because
Yep, I know.
68% already.
I know, I already saw that. I saw
I
that.
had to throw that zing in.
I know, go ahead and zing. I already saw that and realized that but I don't know how it was calculated last year, but I'm gonna find out. I've already sent my email out on that research.
Yeah, no, it just jumped, I haven't
Yep.
added that circle.
Yep,
I have some more information, I can do it now, or we can do it when this is done.
we'll do that about recording.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll do it later. Yep, it's gonna increase that line item. Yeah, I know.
So the one thing I would look at, because we're running a lot of money, but it may very well not be a problem, is unemployment insurance and workers' comp insurance to make sure that pays it for the year and there are no premiums that are gonna be paid between now and December, because all that money's been spent. So maybe just an annual bill that was received at the beginning of the year and you're done.
That's what I saw too.
So it's probably not a problem, but if it isn't, $85,000 in workers' comp is a significant amount of money.
Okay, so workman's comp, we want to check on that one?
Yeah, only to ensure that that's it for the year. If it's it for the year, it's perfect, but.
Yeah, so the other one, I don't know if you're further, the other one I was looking at too is the deductible.
Yes.
The deductible looks like it's already been spent. We had budgeted of a 5,500 and we've already spent way more than that, and
That kind of tells you we've had a few accidents, isn't it?
yes, it has. So, and it's what the whole contingency fund needs to be used for, but if we could get clarification on that one, I think that
But having this data is actually very good because we can see where the money's being used. That way we can, like, in July, we will be able to match it up with this and see how much was used half the year, how much was used a quarter, where all the money's going. That way, when it comes time to do the budget for next year, we can see, okay, yes, the police line, this line on the police department, yeah, we can understand why it needs to increase, and we can understand why this one is okay to decrease. Without having this information, we've been working in the blind.
Yep, I agree. I think it helps us understand how, I think when we're looking at it at the end of the year, all we see is two numbers. Right. And it's hard to understand how we got there or what happened during the year. And I think having these meetings and watching expenditures helps us prepare for next year and understand the budget and what's happening in the town and the operations of the town.
Yeah, I think this expenditure sheet is just more or less good for knowledge.
Yep.
Not that we can really get, ask
Yep.
questions about it so much, because it's money that is needed to be spent, that's why it's being spent, but it just gives us knowledge so that next time when we're doing the budget, we have more information.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck, but the current purchasing policy, if a line item is spent and you're gonna go over budget, the select board needs to sign off on the PO no matter what the amount is that correct? Okay.
So again, on the police budget, 4210-05.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, what I'm concerned about is that it's computers again, so I'm just wondering if in general, computer maintenance across the board isn't underfunded. Because it seems like there's a few departments that appear to be,
Well, again, that may be because it says computer, it may be very well that they needed 2 computers for the cars, let's just say that's what we budgeted.
Yeah.
Because once the budget goes through, these guys, once they know they got money.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought, I
Yeah.
misread it with my eyes. I thought that was maintenance, was the one that
I'm
was.
just thinking that might be. Again,
No, yeah, it's computer.
It's computers,
Yep.
so you're right.
They had to I think they replaced 2 cruisers and I think they had to get 2 new laptops.
Yeah,
So.
you're right.
Yep.
All right.
So as far as salaries, chief salaries, overtime grant money, and salaries, seminars, and training, there is no budget number for that.
Okay.
Why is that? Is that supposed to come out of a different line? Or
I actually think it's because it's divided out. If you look at 42 S10 S1, see how it says full-time salaries and overtime salaries?
Yeah.
So I think she may, in her system, divide them into individual buckets for other purposes, for how they get paid and for retirement, so that it should all roll up into that salaries line.
Got it.
Because there's a couple of things that I was like, she broke out, like the electrical, something, like some of the maintenance on the equipment, all the different equipment's broken out, even though it rolls up. So there's no budget for that item, even though money's been spent, but it should roll up to the one individual line item.
Got it.
Do we have any further discussion on?
I mean, total bottom line is at 28% for the total budget, so.
We're still, no, we're good.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it is a good thing, because I'm looking at it too and saying, well, okay, why did we do this, or who did it, or what?
Yeah, well, and I think there's the whole confusing thing on the library again pops up, but I think we just need a better explanation on what that looks like.
Does anybody have an inkling on the dues for the fire department?
I was just gonna mention that, yeah.
15,000
How could you so
against the
grossly,
budget.
I wonder,
Underestimate
that
what
might
you
have
need.
actually been in a wrong entry, correct?
Yeah, because if you,
Wrong bucket?
Yeah, I'm hoping.
most of the dues on there are.
Yeah, I
the same
highlighted
way.
that one.
I think that there's,
Yeah.
it's like the supply line, most of the supply
And I
line.
think I remember he actually dropped that amount for last year's
I
budget.
think so. I think, so I did talk to Graham about it quickly, and he did say that, he thinks that one of the things that went under dues should have gone under ambulances, because it's for some software for the ambulance.
Got it.
Well, he's gonna correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, no, and sometimes they buy something and they write the PO and they put it down. And it just gets the wrong number on it, Paula just puts in what is on there. And she doesn't know, like you say, what the part should have gone to, until it gets corrected,
Yeah.
somebody brings it up and then.
Yeah. So the only other one that is kind of lopsided is the inspectors. Let me see. I passed it now.
4240?
42. Yeah, so there's expenses paid, spent that weren't in the budget, and there's some things that are over budget, and I think it's because of the new software that, pay 4240. So if you look at seminars and training and supplies, and they're not high dollar amounts, it's just that they were,
you're a new employee, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And I, that's just pointing it out that we have
Right. And there's
to the
always-
select board that they may need to,
Well, and again, first time I was seeing it too.
Yep.
And Pedro is going to everything he can get his hands on, especially not building inspector stuff, but code enforcement stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Of course.
And the
Yeah.
bottom line is
Yeah.
well within the,
Right, and the thing is, he
Right.
needs to be made aware that, you know,
yeah,
we budgeted, whatever it was,
yes,
300 and some, well, I don't think this is crazy, but $378 or something. But anyway, he's just
Yeah.
got to be aware that, you know, if you're gonna do something in the future, you may wanna talk to Paul or whatever and see if there's money there to do it, rather than he's assuming, I guess, that whatever
Yeah.
training he can get, which he should,
From Massachusetts.
the money's there.
no. He lives in New Hampshire.
Lives in Concord.
He lives in Concord.
Good try, John.
Spending without learning well.
Yeah, I just think that he just needs to be made aware that that's, you know, that that's there, and then we just want to make sure that he's aware that it is over budget and that he'll have to bring those POs to the select board.
on the overtime, the DPW, overtime set wages, that, it wasn't like we had crazy snowstorms, they were out plowing, so is that just a timing issue, do you think?
That and the buildings, I was a little like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that one, and then like under the buildings and grounds, I saw, the overtime was,
Is that, plow?
no, because they have a snow, how many times do they plow this year? Six? Six, seven? Well, salting can be a lot, but buildings and grounds shouldn't have been, we shouldn't see that, right? Under that,
Right.
like how much overtime they've already used. All right. And we're not saying,
I'm guessing if it's under grounds and buildings, it's probably the guys that come out at, 5 o'clock in the morning to shovel to make sure town hall is open.
oh, yeah,
Not
okay.
snow plowing. I'm guessing, but I think that might be.
No, I think the overtime on those two overtime lines, if we could get a response. Are there any other items
No, this is all.
I have a bunch of items that, I will be at the meeting on Monday, so I have highlighted them, so when you discuss it.
This is all good information.
The other interesting one, just, and I suppose I should know these things, but the water
PFAS.
bottle delivery
Yep,
to the PFAS is
over.
over budget.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think we have like 3 line items for water. I think that may be something.
Actually, I actually know that answer because I asked Paulette, and it's, we thought that the filtration systems would be installed by now.
Or the money be in anyway.
Yep. And so we didn't budget for a full year of water delivery.
And it looked well, because believe it or not, it's a grant with the state. It's been at least 5 times from our engineer, who's supposed to know what they're doing, sending it to the state to get the proposal for the companies to come to do it. And every time he writes it, they kick it back and say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's hopefully on the last go around now. So, but then it's got to go up to bid.
Yep.
So
And then you have to get in line to get it installed. Yep.
So it's going to, again, you're right, we're going to have to throw some money in that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So that will be, that's 4411-07. So right now it's, so it looks like it's about $1,000 a month, give or take, and until the new PFAS systems are installed, it will continue to be that much or higher. Okay. Anne Marie, are you all set?
I'm all set.
Pam, are you all set?
Yeah, it was that transfer item under library that I was wondering about, but John explained it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think I get
We can explain it.
it. Transfers between years.
I'll figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. No, that would be, I think that.
Just knowledge, we just need the knowledge.
Yeah, that's all we're looking for. John, are you good with the data? Are you good? Do you have any other issues with this data? Okay.
No, I'm fine.
Claudine?
I'm good.
You're good. All right. So we're going to move on from that. Public comment for all of our public people that are here. I put public comment in. You don't know. Somebody could come. All right. No one's here. So any other board business? We do need to approve the minutes.
So, one thing.
Yep.
We have, we have retained Robin in the planning board section. She was, had resigned, but has canceled the resignation, and we've made a deal with her. And basically her rate as a part-time person, it's gonna go from $28.08 to $31, which will probably have to come out of the contingency fund overall. But, it was a means of being able to keep her here rather than trying to find somebody to do that job from the outside. If it gets approved next year, if it goes in as a warrant article and it gets approved, then the rate goes back to the current rate that it's at. This is just a temporary rate for this year.
Say the end part again, if it goes in as a warrant
If it
article.
goes in as, like we did this year, if it goes in a warrant article and gets passed next year as a full-time person,
Yeah.
the rate of pay will drop back to $27 now.
2803.
Or 28, yeah, well, 2808.
Why would it drop back?
Because it would be a full-time with benefits and all that. And
Oh,
it's,
Oh, okay.
I
that's
understand.
the big, you know, and that will, and that's about what the matrix and the things that have been, is that job is what it's at, if we will. Is that right?
It is
Too high.
a little high.
Too high. So, anyway, we're able to maintain her, given us, she can work up to the 32 hours. Before she was working a little bit less, and she's working, you know, 1 day a week she wants to be working from home, just some different things, but the main thing, budget-wise, was the amount of money. Rather than finding that out in November or December, it's there now, and we have to figure out the total amount, will probably come out of the contingency fund.
So that was an item that was voted on and it was shot down, right? Was it her salary? So are we in any way defying the will of the voters by making these accommodations for her?
Well, I don't know if it's the will of the voters, but I'm not sure what you're.
So
Yes, in order, initially it wasn't, she was gonna resign, you know, nicely, I mean, just a matter of the hours and the time and the way the setup was. She just wasn't comfortable with it, and I'm sure she was probably a little upset to the fact is that it didn't get approved as a full-time job, because that's what she needs to do. And I think originally when she took the job, it was being posted to be full-time if the taxpayers approve it.
So this is all completely within the selectmen's purview, right?
Correct.
So if I could just share this thought, a lesson to learn from this experience. Because of the question that Claudine naturally just asked, we might want to be careful, and I said this when we were discussing this warrant article, that if you go out and ask for a warrant article and you fail, and then you go back and adjust and basically do what the voters voted down, that's asking for trouble.
Well, if we,
So, and my point is this, don't ask.
Well-
You know what I mean? Fund it, like, don't ask for it in a warrant.
So the only caveat to that is, in this town, in order to create a new full-time position,
Yep.
you have to go to the voters.
Yep,
So you have to ask, and the position is
that's a
still,
fair point.
and the position is still part-time, it's up to 32 hours.
So she's getting the income that she wanted, but not the benefit?
correct.
Okay.
And the difference in the hourly rate may be going towards, but I don't know, we don't know what she has for benefits outside of here, what her husband has, I know she doesn't have, I don't know.
nor does our business.
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, just so it's upfront, we know it before we, because last year we found out a
Yep.
lot of things.
No, I think having these meetings on a quarterly basis and finding that information out ahead of time, hopefully will make the budget cycle easier.
Did you put the calendar in?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I did not yet. I will. I wanted to get this and assign people.
I wasn't sure if it was too.
Nope, we didn't have our liaisons assigned,
Got it.
and that goes on the calendar. Okay. Is there anything else anyone else wants to bring up? The minutes from March 27th for approval.
Okay,
Anne Marie,
second.
Any concerns, questions? All in favor to approve the minutes from the 27th of March? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. I think that is it.
Next meeting?
Next meeting, I think we already scheduled for July 24th. It will be another meeting to review expenditures from the first 2 months, first 2 quarters of 2024, and we're going to get an explanation of the library transfer fund, and we'll get an explanation of some of the items that have been over. So we'll have a little bit of stuff to review, and hopefully we'll have everyone here. I will reach out to Trish and Martha to go to the town clerk's office and to sign, I'll get their appointments done from Susan and have them sign, but.
One thing with the library is that transfer account, you've got to get a sheet of paper, the transfer account that shows the electric was budgeted for $3,000 and they
Yep.
used 1,000.
Yep,
That's what we need to see.
yep. Well, I think,
Just to say there's a transfer account, and it took me 4 years to figure out what the hell it was. Say there's a transfer account.
The trustees, right?
Say that,
The transfer account is from the trustees.
Library trustees.
well, it's from the bookkeeper, the librarian, the treasurer, and ultimately the trustees are responsible for everything. But it's
It's an accounting.
it's an accounting function that facilitates their operation as a separate entity. That's basically it.
okay.
But which is largely funded by the town. So there's money that comes, unspent money comes back, and the payments are supposed to. I don't think it's monthly. I think most places do it quarterly.
All right. Are we good?
Should we send something to Gary?
You want to send something to Gary?
I mean, is he at home or is he at a,
He's in rehab.
he's at
you
a
said.
rehab facility?
Yeah, it was at rehab, and I've talked to him a couple times, I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't sound like he was still in rehab. He was in Salem the last time I talked to him. We can do something.
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting and then we can figure that out.
okay.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.